All righty, Coach. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good. Before we get started, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I want to make sure that we're all mindful of the time of the year. These kids fighting and straining and clawing and being away from their families and all that. And I'm sure you guys are all experiencing the same thing. So I want to wish all of you guys a very happy Thanksgiving. I'm sure you have a lot of things to be grateful for. I know that I do. And it's a wonderful time of year. So thank you for that.
All right, we're going to keep it just to one question. We want to get through as many people as possible. So let's start with Dave Biddle, 247. Dave.
Thanks, Mike. Hi, Kerry. Coach Day said the issues on defense are mostly a matter of execution. But is there anything about your scheme that you're reassessing at the current moment?
Well, I think that there's constant questions about how we're doing things and things that you're always evaluating what you're doing and how you're doing it. And I think that's exactly what we're doing. So most of the things I would agree with Coach Day are execution based, but we've got to make sure that we're doing things that are going to be the best for everybody that's on the field.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go next to Joey Kaufman from the Columbus Dispatch. Joey.
Kerry, how would you evaluate your pass rush this season? Obviously, you weren't here last year, but it seems last year they were able to get a lot more sacks this year, but the pressure this year has been as good as last year. How would you just kind of put the pass rush up?
Yeah, I think we're getting very good pressure. I think that there's we had 28 pressures and 10 knockdowns in the game Saturday. We'd like for those things to finish in more sacks. Obviously, I thought their quarterback did a really nice job in standing in there and getting rid of the ball just before sacks under a lot of pressure, and he was an accurate thrower in those situations. But I think we've got a lot of guys that can rush the passer, and I do think they're putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback.
Ready, next up, Patrick Murphy, 247. Patrick.
Kerry, looking back at some of the big plays, I'm curious what you made of what was going on there. It looked like Marcus a couple times maybe jumped a route that he didn't need to, but your eyes better than mine. What did you see that needs to be fixed on some of those plays in particular?
Well, I think that first of all, we have to fix the big plays. There's no question about that. I think that you're not inaccurate at all. I think sometimes we press or look to make a bigger play than what exists for us in the structure of our defense. And it's really important that I do a better job of coaching that and making sure that we all understand we don't need to go necessarily make all the big plays. We need to make sure that we're not chasing something that's not there that creates a big play.
Hey, next up, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch. Bill.
Yeah, Kerry, when you watched the tape, was it better than you thought it'd be or worse than you thought it would be?
It was, well, that's a great question. Those 4 plays in particular are, those are egregious. And so when you watch those, it doesn't make you feel good. There's so many good things, and being ahead 35-7 and being where we've been in all those situations. And there were a lot of really, really good plays. But there's no question that just like all of you, that the focus ends up on those ones that don't go well. And those are the ones that have got all of our attention this weekend and will going forward. And those are fixable errors that have to be fixed. And that's our job. That's my job.
Thanks, Kerry, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that.
All right, we'll go next to Dan Hope, 11 Warriors. Dan.
Kerry, you guys only played 5 players on the back end on Saturday. Is that enough? Are there other guys who need to get in there and, maybe give you guys some different combinations on the back end?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think that as the season continues to progress, we would certainly like to play more guys and to have more opportunities for guys to play. I've always believed that. And so we're constantly looking for those opportunities to get more guys on the field.
Thanks, Kerry.
Sure.
All righty, we'll go next to Doug Lamarice, Cleveland.com. Doug?
Hey, Kerry.
Hi, Doug.
How you doing, Kerry?
Great, thanks.
Looking forward to watching Braden on Thanksgiving Day.
Hey, good, thank you.
Just a specific play, just to help us be smarter and how we analyze this stuff. The deep ball when 7 was in coverage, and Marcus looked like he came up and tried to help on maybe an underneath route where the linebackers were in some coverage.
Yep.
What should a safety do in that situation? How's the defense designed to work there? Because it wound up that 7 had the guy one-on-one, and once the guy got a step, it kind of was over.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. I think it's a single high defense. You'd like to have a single high safety in the deep post area. I think something flashed in front of his eyes, and that makes things challenging sometimes, and routes that obviously if we had that play back, we would like to play that differently. I also don't excuse how we played it on the outside. We got to play that better there too. So you're accurate on both counts, but in single high defense, you would like to have that guy back there deeper.
Okay, thank you, Kerry.
Yep.
All righty, we'll go next to Austin Ward from Leonard Monroe. Austin.
Hey, Kerry, happy
Hey,
Thanksgiving.
Austin. Thank you. You too.
We know that you're going to coach your guys extremely hard, whether you win or lose. One of the things that Coach Dave brought up after the game is when you're looking at personnel and scheme, and then the way you're teaching and coaching, like those are the 3 areas you look for improvement. When you're looking evaluating yourself from Saturday, where do you think what is it you think that you need to do this week?
Well, I think I have to do everything better, Austin. I think we have to, obviously, whatever you see on the field is a reflection of what you've taught and how you've taught. And so when any player at any position makes a mistake, that as his coach, you should take that personally, and I do. And those are things that I have to fix, and I have to do a better job. And I think it's important that, I tell the kids all the time that it's my opinion that when we make a mental mistake, that's my fault. That's something that I didn't get coached well enough, that I didn't get taught well enough. And that's my responsibility. And so, that's where we've got to see improvement this week.
Thanks, Kerry.
Sure.
Okay, we got time for just a couple more. We'll go to Bill Landis from The Athletic. Bill.
Hey, Kerry.
Hi, Bill.
You have 3 linebackers right now who are playing really well, and I know you took a hit on the back end when Cam Brown got hurt. So given all of that, how comfortable are you right now playing in nickel? And especially when you get into games like Saturdays where a team's dropping back to throw the ball 50 times, it still seemed like you guys stayed in your base defense for the most part.
Yeah, I think that was true on second down, Bill. I think on third down, we were able to get our third down package on the field, and we're comfortable with that. Played the nickel in second down in the fourth quarter. And so you're right. The 3 linebackers are playing really well. We've tried to manipulate and use some of the similar scheme types of things with that group that we've done with the nickel and the penny package. And so that's because they are playing well, and you do hate to take those guys off the field. So without giving away too many answers or too many secrets, I guess, I would say that those guys are playing well, and we're going to continue to try to enhance what we can do with them.
All righty, we got time for 2 more. We'll go first to Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com. Nathan.
Hey, Kerry, you talked before the season about having to prepare a lot of guys for, the eventualities or kind of the unpredictability of this season. Yep. And in both you and Ryan are talking about trying to get more guys on the field, maybe to prove themselves. I'm just wondering, are you getting close to being forced into a situation where you have to take a leap of faith with some of the younger guys? And how tough is that as a coach to do when maybe a guy on the field isn't doing that well, but you haven't necessarily seen another guy get on the field to show you something else?
I think it's a great challenge. I think it's a great question, Nathan, because it's easy to sub an interior defensive lineman and let them get experience. It's much harder on the islands of the secondary to do that. And so those are things that we would like to do. And those are things that when it's 35-7, you would look forward to having that opportunity to do that. And so we're practicing a lot of depth. We're not playing a lot of depth. And some of that is a function of the way these second halves have gone. And so that's something that we would like to be able to do. You're absolutely right. And that leap of faith is a big one. So, that we'll see what happens this weekend.
Sorry, just to clarify, so it's harder to do that with secondary guys just because they're more exposed than you would be if you're just playing one of the 4 defensive line spots?
Well, sure. If you're if a defensive lineman steps to the wrong gap on something, then that's one issue. If a secondary player makes a mistake, it can result in points, and that's the bigger area, right? When you're playing the game, you want to make sure that you're protecting the team, and so that's always a reasonable challenge in the back end.
And the last question for Coach Coombs, we'll go to Brendan Gulick, Buckeyes Now on Sports Illustrated.
Hey, Kerry.
Hi, Brendan.
Hey, just want to follow up on your response to Patrick Murphy's question. So it sounds to me like both you and Coach Day now have a couple of times alluded to the design of this defense is not to allow big plays.
Right.
How do you coach guys? How do you walk that fine line of telling guys to pick their spots to be aggressive because you want them to create turnovers, you want them to make big plays defensively without being over aggressive and getting away from the scheme?
Yeah, I think that's what experience teaches you. And I think that you're exactly right. It's a very fine line because if we just back everybody up, right, 20 yards, then that's not good defense either. We've got to experience these things. We've got to make these plays. We've got to feel them. We've got to feel them in practice and change some things up in practice the way we're doing some of those things to give them maybe a little bit more of that kind of exposure on Tuesday and Wednesday that rather than Saturday, if that makes sense, Brendan. And so experience is the greatest teacher, and we got a good dose of it on Saturday. And so we're going to have to continue to improve on those decisions when what is the acceptable risk and what is the risk reward for how I play a specific play. And that's important for us going forward.